Good morning, hockey fans. This is Stephen Heisler with HeisHockey.com, the Victorious Hockey Company, and the Junior Hockey Discussion Group on Facebook. You are watching the Junior Hockey Morning Show. Today is Monday, April 17th, 2023. You can find us on the World Sports Broadcasting Network, WSBN.TV, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. Hopefully this morning in your living room, in your car, you're watching or listening. It's been an interesting weekend. It's actually Sunday for us here in Orlando. Rainy, 86 degrees. Tommy has me working tomorrow morning with a 6 a.m. pickup after working last night until 1 and this morning at 4. The kid's trying to kill me. I think he's really trying to kill me. Trying to make some extra dough for our trip to Vegas in a few weeks. We're excited about that. We made it. The North American Hockey League has ended its regular season, and now it's time for the Robertson Cup playoffs and all the fun that comes with that. Each Monday into the finals in Blaine, we will run down the playoff situation and attempt to make a fool of myself with predictions again. I've been told by more than one coach that they like to use that material to help motivate the boys. Great. I'm fodder now. Considering my track record of picking winners, I've learned to never attempt the actual gamble any real money trying to pick NHL games. I didn't do bad for World Juniors. I think Ballard and I ended up even, right? It was a tie, right? A tie. Well, no, he owes me a steak. That was over one game, right? He owes me a steak dinner for one game. I'll make him pay for that in Vegas in a few weeks. He's going to show up there or not. So let's start out with the North American Hockey League Central Division. 2 matchups, each division, final 8 teams. Is that right? 16 teams. Austin Bruins and Minot Montoros. With just 3 wins in the last 10 games, it may look like the Bruins are kind of backing into the playoffs. Don't read too much into that. Austin took the division by 12 points and let a pile of affiliate players get game minutes down the stretch. Minot, on the other hand, has had to fight off a very hard-charging Bismarck group that won its last 6 games. This could be one of those playoff battles that we talk about for decades. Both coaches are simply amazing hockey guys and their friends. So picking the winner is literally going to be a toss-up. My pick, Austin. Like Steve Howard, like Cody Campbell, both are great guys. I think that Austin just has a few more tools in the shed than Minot does today. So we're going to stick with that one. One that is even easier to pick. Aberdeen Wings versus St. Cloud Norsemen. On paper, these 2 teams look about even. That's before scratching under the surface to see just how banged up the Norsemen are. Meanwhile, Scott Langer has his Wings dialed in and more than ready for the start of the playoffs. Once again, both coaches are friends, but one has a clear advantage. Aberdeen has home ice advantage and a much bigger advantage when it comes to personnel that's available. My pick is Aberdeen. Break off to the NAHL East Division. Maryland Black Bears versus Northeast Generals. The Black Bears lost about 10 more games this season than they should have. It was evident in October that Maryland had much more in the tank than their divisional opponents. Yes, I'm saying that the Black Bears underachieved during the regular season. The team's inability to consistently deliver will likely hunt them in the playoffs. But that's not going to happen in this series against the Generals. This is simply not a very good hockey team with an even worse organization. My pick, Maryland by a mile. Could be a sweep. Would not surprise me at all. New Jersey Titans and the Maine Nordiques. The defending Robertson Cup champion Titans rebounded from a slow start to the season and managed to finish in second place, just 5 points behind Maryland. well done. I really thought Jersey was going to catch the Black Bears. Winners in 7 of their last 10 games, it's obvious that the Titans are fired up to defend their title. Maine has just 3 wins in the last 10 games and should provide little resistance for New Jersey's return to Blaine. My pick, New Jersey. In the AHL Midwest Division, Wisconsin Wendigo versus Chippewa Steel. Before saying anything about this series, it has to be noted that Wendigo coach Blake Alita has done simply an amazing job this season. This despite the gong show antics of Chris Hedlund, the general manager, that he brought from Kenai River. Some of the same habits and tricks he did with Nate Keel, he's doing with the Wendigo too. Shocker. We are hearing that there's no way the head coach returns for next season if Hedlund is still running the show. Does that also mean that Casey Mignon's Chippewa Steel has a good shot of upending the window again in this series? That all depends on the play of superhero goalie Adam Gajan. If this kid is hot, the Wendigo are in for a fight. My pick is Chippewa. Really, it comes down to that goalie. If he plays every game and plays like he can, Wisconsin's toast. That kid can stop a Mack truck. Minnesota Wilderness versus Kenai River Brown Bears. What is it with Dave Boyce's history of having every coach he hires end up hating his guts? Is it true that Wilderness head coach Brett Skinner has made it clear that it's Boyce or him for next season? Skinner has proven the ability to overcome tremendous obstacles en route to a successful season. If you were going to tell me last spring that this guy would be able to come in here and fix the problem after the whole absolute gong show issue with the former assistant coach and Phelps, that was ridiculous. But this guy managed to come in here, wash all of that smuck away, and do a really good job with his team. Meanwhile, the best pay-to-play hockey team in the United States finished the season 8 games over 500 and punched their ticket to the playoffs. That would be the Kenai River Brown Bears. These poor kids have been abused by the organization all year and expect nothing more during the playoffs. My pick is the Wilderness only because of Skinner. I would love to see the Brown Bears upset the Wilderness. That would be really good for hockey. But it also would send a sign back to Nate Keel that he can get away with his baloney again. He could continue to really do a number on these kids. North American Hockey League South Division. Oklahoma Warriors versus the Amarillo Wranglers. Dirty Harry may have saved his job for next year after getting 9 straight wins and a playoff opportunity. That would be Dirty Harry Mahood, the head coach of the Amarillo Wranglers. That's not bad news. We love Hoodie as a role of the league's villain. The Warriors have been able to rest some bodies and should be at 100% just in time to dismantle Amarillo. And they will. My pick is Oklahoma. Last but not least, the most epic battle in North American Hockey League playoff history probably is going to be, oh, hell, let's go ahead and say it. Any game between Lone Star and Shreveport for the last 25 years, from the old Western Professional Hockey League days until these days now, through the Central Hockey League and now in the North American Hockey League, these two teams have hated each other. Of all the playoff matchups in the first round, it's the continuation of the Bugs-Brahmas battle that will be the most fun to watch. These teams have been going at it since Lone Star head coach Dan Walfong was playing for Shreveport. In fact, the only way the Brahmas were going to approve Shreveport even getting into the league was that if Dan Walfong could never become the head coach of the Mudbugs. That's how worried Frank Tazzara was about losing Dan Walfong. Now, that's funny. Even recent history, whatever happened this season during regular season games, irrelevant. Whatever happened last year, irrelevant. This series comes down to this. I am literally tossing a coin. Both coaches are great guys, absolute phenomenal coaches. Both teams are dialed in. This is literally anybody's playoff series to take. Flip of the coin says that the Shreveport Mudbugs are going to take the series. I could be wrong, been wrong before, but really there's no losers in that battle. Either one of those two teams, I expect to face off and be really the only contender they're going to have at the Robbie is going to be the winner that comes out of the Central Division. The Central and the South are amazing. East is garbage. Midwest is pretty good. It makes for a very interesting Robertson Cup later on. I don't care who's going to come out on top. We're going to have a lot of fun watching it. That's it for today, folks. Hope that you enjoy your morning coffee and have a good